Hey guys, welcome to Algebra 2, just kidding, Algebra 1, and we're doing 1.2 video. Make sure you go ahead and head it, 1.2. We're doing orders of operations and evaluating expressions. So our objective today is to simplify expressions involving exponents and to use the order of operations to evaluate expressions. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right in, okay? Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and start with talking about exponents. So I want you to go ahead and write all that and this little picture over here too. So kind of just everything in this little green boxy thing. Okay, not that part. So I'll read it to you to start. A power has two parts. Notice in our picture, which is a perfect example here, the power represents these two parts. A base and an exponent. The exponent tells us how many times we use the base as a factor. So the exponent 3 tells us to write out 3 of the bases, which is 2. Okay? And this is how we use powers, or a lot of times we'll just call them exponents. Okay? We're going to spend a lot of time with exponents over the course of the year, and so this is our first taste of it. A lot of times you can read them differently. We could read this as 2 to the third power, or 3 also has a special one, 2 cubed. You could also read 5 to the second power, or 5 squared as another example. And it says, you, go ahead and write this, you simplify a numerical expression. Expression means there's no equal sign. We haven't dealt with that yet. When you replace it with its single numerical value. For example, the simplified form of 2 times 8 is 16. So that would be simplified right there. To simplify power, you replace it with its simplest name. So in this case right here, 2 times 2 times 2, 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So the simplified expression for that would be 8. Okay? Let's go ahead and get into our first examples. Just kidding, I didn't mean to say first examples. I meant another fun fact. Here we go. Another fun thing we want to write down is this piece right here. And that's what this heading was called, orders of operations. I can't believe I almost forgot it. So write this down. This is the order in which we want to do things. Okay? We want to perform any operations inside grouping symbols, such as parentheses or brackets. A fraction bar can also act as a grouping symbol. Second, we're going to use powers, which we just talked about, with things with little exponents, those little numbers above. Number 3, we're going to multiply and divide from left to right. So I don't have to multiply first. I can divide. It depends. I always go from left to right. And then add and subtract. We always do that also from left to right, like we're reading a book. Many of you would see this as, and I would recommend you write this down, P for parentheses, E for exponents, M/D for multiplication, division, and then addition and subtraction. A lot of times we call this PEMDAS. So PEMDAS is what we're going to be using. Okay. Now we can get into our first example. Okay, so here we go. Our first example. Write down this, and we're going to go ahead and do this. So first, this is the power, 3 to the 4th power. So this exponent 4 and the base of 3. This tells us to write the base out 1, 2, 3, 4 different times, okay? And we're going to multiply, and I like to always use little arrows to show that I'm multiplying it. Again, our calculator will do this for us, but we're going to kind of build up to that. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9, and there's still a multiplication there. And 9 times 9 is 81, and that's our answer. Let's see what our answer choices were. 12. That's 3 times 4. Common mistake. Students sometimes will think 3 times 4 is correct. 27, that was close. That would be 3 times 3 times 3, so they missed one. 64, I'm not sure what they did there. Maybe 4 to the 3rd power, potentially, or 4 to the 4th power. But 81 is our correct answer. All right, let's look at our next one. Okay, so this is our example 2, and we are going to be using our orders of operations. So write this out, but then I want you to go ahead and also write, real quick, we're just going to write PEMDAS right in here. Whoop. And let's go ahead and see if we can get this done. So first order is parentheses. Are there any? And I do see parentheses, so I'm going to evaluate this portion first. I always like to show little arrows of what I'm doing. You don't have to. 6 minus 2 is going to be 4. The third power is up there, and the division sign is still there. Okay. Next, so parentheses, there's no more. Now exponents. Do I see any exponents or powers? And I do. So I need to go ahead and evaluate this, which is 4 times 4 times 4, which 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64, I believe. Let me double check. Let's write it out. Let's show the math here. 16 times 4, pretty sure we got 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2 is 64. All right, so this all becomes 64. And then, last but not least, so we took care of the exponents. Is there any multiplication or division? There's division, so we're going to divide by 2. So I cut 60 in half, and I get 30. And I cut 4 in half, I get 2. And so I get 32 as my final answer. Okay? Again, have to follow orders of operations, or this whole thing would fall apart. Okay, let's take a look at another problem. Okay, let's go ahead and do example 3, and this is evaluating an algebraic expression. Again, the word expression means there's no equal sign, so if you look right in here, whoop, no equal sign. So this is an expression, so we can simplify it down by multiplying, adding, subtracting, dividing, anything we can to make it a little bit more simpler. All right, it also gives us a little indication we need to plug stuff in. So I'm going to go ahead and plug things in. Instead of x, we're going to write 5, and that's going to be squared, plus, instead of x, I'm going to write 5 minus 12 divided by y is going to be 2 squared. And again, instead of y, we got 2. Okay? Now, you're like, Mr. Smith, where the heck those parentheses come from? I am a creature of habit. I usually, when I plug stuff in and it has an exponent, I throw parentheses on there, just in case there's more than one thing in there. In this case, there's not, so I didn't have to. So I apologize if that threw you off, but that's why I do. But we do need to follow our orders of operations, so we are going to go ahead and follow the rules. PEMDAS, parentheses. I made parentheses here, but notice there's nothing inside of them, so there's really nothing to do. So what I have to do first is, so parentheses are kind of done. That's a check. We have to do exponents. 5 to the second power, that's 5 times 5, so that is 25. 2 squared, that's 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, now I'm going to write the rest of this back down in here, plus 5 minus 12 divided by 4. Okay, now I can't just go from left to right like I read a book. I need to follow my orders of operations. So what's the next thing I'm going to do? We did exponents. Is there any multiplication or division? I see addition, subtraction, division. So I need to take care of this first before I do this. So 12 divided by 4 is going to leave me with a 3. I already have that 25 from before. And now, we get plus 5 minus 3. Now we're at this last step, addition, subtraction. Guess what? It doesn't matter which one I do first. I always go from left to right. So I'm going to start over here on the left-hand side. I'm going to do this first. 25 plus 5 is 30 minus 3, which is 27. Okay? So PEMDAS, very important, nice and slow, step by step, no rush. Okay? Moving on. Okay, let's pick this as our very last problem. I think we're problem 3, or maybe it was 4. I think it's maybe 4. Okay. What is the simplified form of each expression? We're just going to do this one right here. Again, we must follow PEMDAS. Okay? So let's go ahead and write out our PEMDAS. Okay, we start with parentheses. None. Exponents. 2 to the 4th power. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So let's go ahead and write that out. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 minus 1 over here, all over 5. Okay, we got to take care of that first. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so that would be 4 times 4 minus 1 over 5. And then 4 times 4 is going to give us 16 minus 1 over 5. Okay, exponents are done. Next, now this one's kind of tricky because I see division should come next. But you see how I can't divide 16, I can't divide 1? Now if you remember in the beginning, we want to go ahead and we treat this almost as if it's in parentheses. We should do that first. And so if something's getting divided by all that stuff, we want to treat that first. So 16 minus 1, we're going to actually jump and do this first because it's kind of grouped. And that's going to leave us with 15 over 5, which you're going to see very conveniently. 5 goes into 15 3 times, and that gives us our final answer. All right? Cheers. Good job today. I will catch you on the flip side. I feel like I should reward you with something really cool. I just don't know what I could reward you with. Like a cool thing. I don't know what. I mean, this is kind of cool. Watch this. I mean, that's kind of cool. Anyways. All right. Hasta luego. And I'll